we're going to start off with some of our white belts coming out of the mat. If our white belts would spread out on the mats, and we're going to start off by demonstrating one of the first things that we do. One of the first things we do in Aikido when we start learning is learn how to fall safely, because first of all, it's practical in daily life, especially living in New Orleans with all the uneven pavement, but also because Aikido is an art of redirecting attacks. We tend to send people into positions where they fall down or get pinned to the ground. And so first thing we learn is to come down to small forward rolls. So everybody goes down in like a cat position and shows rolling forward. Back and forth. This is one of the first exercises, and we have people here who've been practicing for, in some cases, a few months, in some cases a little longer. But as you can see, it doesn't take too long to get really relaxed and soft in your rolls. Now if you would show backwards rolls, backwards cat rolls, just little backwards rolls. We always start low, like this, before we start doing standing falls, backwards and forwards. But everybody adapts to their own bodies. Everything in Aikido is very adaptable. If you have flexibility issues or anything, old injuries, you can work around them. You don't have to do the rolls exactly like this. Next, if everybody would stand up and facing the front of the stage, or either way, do forward standing rolls, standing forward rolls. Those, yeah, you three, go ahead, onegaishimasu. And then rolling back to the back of the stage. So as you can see, what you saw with small rolls quickly adapts into how to fall from a standing position. First they're doing forward rolls, and when you do one more forward roll, now do a backwards roll. Do some backwards rolls. Rolling backwards, height. And back to the front of the stage as well, or mats as this would be. So these are very gentle on the body. We have people practicing from 3 years old to 75 years old, and I have no doubt you could do this in your 80s as well. In fact, my teacher in Japan still moves better than most 20-year-olds. And the founder of Aikido was still practicing when he was 86. So, all right, thank you guys. If you'll show forward knee walking, shiko. We'll start with forward knee walking. This is actually a traditional movement that the samurai had to learn and palace guards in Japan had to learn. One idea is that you had to always keep yourself shorter than the emperor. So it's kind of a tradition. It's learning to move on your knees, not something you're going to use in a fight situation in the United States anytime soon probably, but it's what we like about it is, keep going, is that it gets you to move your whole body using your hips. You see they're swinging their hips, try doing backwards knee walking, ushiro shiko. Same thing in reverse, like this. Okay, thank you guys very much. Now we're gonna move on to being off the line and staying grounded and centered with Arturo Sensei from Aikido New Orleans, showing with his student Ted the idea that in Aikido, when the attack arrives, you need to not be there. So when a grab comes, or a punch, or a strike, or a kick, you move out of the way. You don't try to get in the way and block. Like a lot of martial arts, block and counter strike. Aikido redirects. Aiki in Japanese means harmony or blending energy. So Arturo Sensei uses timing, relaxation, breathing, posture, balance to affect the balance of the attacker. And of course, we do it in a patterned, safe way. We don't start off 100 miles an hour with total chaotic attacks. There's a certain predictability to which attacks, some grabs, maybe some strikes. And the other idea is to stay very centered. So grounded and centered is the next thing that we'll be showing with this. Okay, thank you both very much. You want to maybe illustrate the idea of being grounded and centered as well before we switch on to the next thing. So watch how when Arturo Sensei uses his center of gravity, he doesn't have to make a dramatic movement to affect Ted's balance. And this does work even when there's a big difference in size. In this case, Arturo Sensei may be taller, but you'll see that it works the other way as well. So for example, now Arturo is attacking. He's probably a bit bigger and stronger than Ted, but it does not matter because Aikido is not about being big and strong. It's not about muscle or overpowering an attacker. It's about using your body in a natural way, doing only what's necessary to be in the right place at the right time. And also to make sure the mats don't wander apart too much so that we end up rolling on the marble. That's too entertaining. We don't want to. We can show off and roll on the hard floor, but we're not going to.
The next exercise we'll be doing is one that the founder of Aikido, Sensei, it would be in every class that he taught for decades. The movement of Domo.
So for this exercise, if all the white belts would go out and do the turning behind the partner, you can pair up as you like. Brita maybe, or I mean, we could maybe say Brita with Yolanda, maybe David with Mike, and Seth with John.
And this shows one of the elements that's kind of unique to Aikido. When an attack comes and we get off the line, instead of punishing our partner, we're actually getting ourselves into a position where we have the same view as our attacker. We're blending with the attack instead of countering and punishing the attacker. The ideal in Aikido is that we redirect the energy of the attack and use a lot of spirals, a lot of circles to take our partner to a place of safety, a place where hopefully they won't get hurt and they can't hurt anyone else. We want to, often the techniques end in mobilizations and pins, and sometimes they end in dramatic rolls, high falls, etc.
Thank you very much, everyone. Now we would like to probably keep the same people on stage, but in fact, you might as well keep the same partners as well for the next thing, which is the first technique we're going to show. Up to now, you've seen more applications, exercises, and solo exercises. Tenshinage, heaven and earth throw from two hands grabbing two wrists. Ryote dori, tenshinage omote. There are probably some Japanese speakers in the house, being you can't test. Sori wa, wakori wa, ryote dori, tenshinage omote desu. To ura mo shitai, dakedo ato de. Alright, so as you can see, this is a basic technique, but look at the logic of it. They're not going into the force. Like, they're being grabbed, look at the position of the attack. They're changing their position. They're taking a position where the partner loses their balance. And the word in Japanese is kuzushi, kuzusu. So kuzushi means sort of giving a new balance to the partner. Sometimes gets translated breaking balance, but I prefer, Breaking Bad's a good show, by the way. Breaking balance, I prefer giving a new balance or sort of redirecting the balance to a place where, yes, the attacker falls, giving you a chance to get away or giving them a chance to reconsider. Maybe they don't attack again when they realize you're not such a pushover, so to speak. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Now we'd like to call on maybe the black belts, some of the black belts to do. What we're going to ask you all to do is the turning version of the same technique. So Keith and Josh, Joe and Ted maybe start with Ryote Dori Tenshinagi Ura. There you go. Notice that spiral principle that Arturo Sensei was talking about. So now, instead of going sort of straight behind, and actually there's a colleague of ours, another teacher named John Sensei, who moved up north from Mississippi recently. He said if you get stuck, this is one of the things you do. You turn. You tenkan is the Japanese word. You get out of the way and turn. And just like water moves in spirals, wind moves in spirals, spirals are part of nature quite naturally. That's part of why this works. There's a linear force coming, but look how circular the movements are. Thank you very much, everyone. If Josh would stay on stage with Ted. Okay, would y'all please show a little more advanced technique? We're going to start moving up one more level of complication to a strike. Shomanuchi iriminage. Strike to the head, the entering throw. Look how beautiful that is. And these are people who have not practiced that much together. I don't think Josh and Ted have met before now. We're from 2 different dojos, and look how beautifully they find each other. Speaking a similar language, they can do this technique together, having never done it before together. Really lovely. And generally in Aikido, to keep things safe, we have patterns like during practice. So like 4 attacks, and then you change roles. One person strikes or grabs 4 times, and then the other one does. And honestly, it's just as fun to be the one who falls down. It's just as fun to be the attacker, to learn to be a good attacker. Because if you're not a good attacker, then the peacemaker can't hone their technique. We need each other. And Aikido is taught very cooperatively. We're learning and growing together. Thank you both very much. We're going to keep Josh on stage, and thank you very much. We're going to call Keith. Keith, would you come out and do Moro Te Dori Kokuho? 2 hands grabbing 1. This is a pretty powerful attack because he's got both sides grabbing. All Josh is doing is, again, tenkan, turning, moving his own body, moving where he's free, and then dropping weight, like what Arturo Sensei was showing with centered and groundedness. Very beautiful. This is, I love this technique. This technique actually in our curriculum comes on the 4th of the 7 exams before black belt, or 6 exams, sorry. I guess the 3rd, it comes to the 3rd exam, no 4th, sorry. So they're switching roles like what I talked about, and honestly, even though they're in front of all of y'all, they're both practicing right now. They're not doing some mechanical thing. Every time is different. They're doing research. So I see it, and a lot of my teachers see it. We're always research. I can tell Keith is researching by the way he's moving. It's beautiful. And Josh is feeling it. Now what? This happened. Why? They're asking themselves. Thank you very much, guys.
Now we'll see a demonstration of some of the sword techniques as applied to Aikido. Sensei, the founder of Aikido, was very much a sword practitioner. And many of the techniques are said, many of the hand-to-hand techniques are said to come from sword movements. You can see that Brian Sensei is very clearly moving off the line of an attack, and then moving his body in where he can make a significant potential contact with his partner. The importance of control gets much more pronounced when you're using a wooden weapon. You have to be able to control the weapon so you don't accidentally clunk your partner or in the head or the fingers, because those wooden swords really hurt. And now Sensei is redirecting the sword, the attack, with his sword, changing the line of the attack and taking the center line. The use of the voice is called a ki-ai, and it's basically a way of taking your partner's focus with the use of sound. The sound can almost be used as a strike.
Okay, we're getting into, from all this solo practice and footwork and falling practice and basic technique and the slightly more advanced technique and the sword work, we're going to start moving into further freestyle. We don't have competitions in Aikido. It's not like, our version of sparring is called jiwaza or randori. We're going to show both. What that means is we're going to get away from patterns more and more. One thing that is nice to start with is henkawaza, meaning changing techniques. Arturo Sensei is still doing basically basic techniques, but he's flowing from one into the next. So we're starting to move into a more freestyle situation where things are not planned. And honestly, this becomes pretty quickly just that. They don't have a plan for what, this is a cool technique, that's Hijikimi Osai. Okay, so now, After just a little more henkawaza, we're going to move into 10 doing some henkawaza first before we switch into full freestyle. Now Arturo Sensei attacks. Actually, they've already started the transition. It's becoming now full-on jiwaza, meaning free technique. Now there's no plan. They don't know what attack's coming. They don't know what response is coming. They don't know how the energy is going to be. Is it going to be fast, slow? Where is it coming from? They have to take all the training up to now, and high falls are possible too, which is really cool. And you see forward rolls, back falls. By the way, like I said, if you know, it can be as acrobatic as you like, but everything is adaptable. These high falls are optional. You can take very simple back falls on every technique. You don't have to think that you have to be a gymnast to do this art, because you don't have to be. But if you want to fly, we can teach you how. There is a lot of chance to do high falls through the air. So anyway, this is all freestyle, and they're just going to show a few more of that, and right into a pin, at which point I'm going to do some jiwaza as well. I'm going to call on Keith to do that with me after I hand off the microphone and a few cards, and get back on stage and stop talking. Alright, so now,
Once again, the freestyle, jiwaza. Ryan Sensei has no idea what attack is coming. So one of the parts of the practice is keeping grounded, keeping centered in the face of this attack. There's all kinds of great metaphors for life. In life, we want to stay grounded in the face of stresses. There's not a whole lot that's more obviously stressful than somebody swinging at your head. The practices of Aikido translate really well to life outside the dojo. Keeping our center, keeping our cool under pressure, and responding in ways that are effective and non-violent. From jiwaza, we're going to move into randori, which is multiple attackers, more than one person attacking at once. So with two people attacking, two people grabbing, the potential to get upset and to get out of balance from that is even greater. And that's part of the point of practicing. We get used to dealing with all the different aspects of life. People trying to knock you off your center, and you just turn, you just change the line, and stay in the center of your own picture. And you can even see that Ryan Sensei was using one of the attackers as a little shield to keep the other one at bay. Give yourself a little moment to take a breath, have a lemonade.
Simply doesn't want to miss out on having people acting as well, so randori for Arturo Sensei, we have two more attackers. And Mike, you and I are going to finish up at the end. So be ready, Mike. Okay, 3 attackers. Sandin Dori. Wow. Mike, you ready? So as you can see, as Arturo Sensei was saying, it really helps to have the more people attacking you, have people with shields. Keep moving, keep turning, stay on the outside. The three people, maybe there's not room for 3 people, is that right? Keep going, just 2? Yeah, we weren't sure if we could pull off 3 people at once, but okay. With this much space, in other words. We like our students, we don't want them rolling on the marbles, we can help it. But okay, once again, Arturo Sensei is using John as a very effective shield. Joe is persistent, and he takes his fall. Okay, and then last but not least, I would like to show one more thing, which is again, that Aikido with Mike, but Yolanda, we're going to finish with that very quickly.
So the flowing, changing practices of the freestyle jiu-jitsu, you can even practice them with people who are newer to Aikido. The important thing to get to this place is learning how to fall. And the falling skills are really great to have in the rest of your life. If you're a cyclist or equestrian, knowing how to fall off your bike or off your horse, it's a great skill. I've done an Aikido roll off my mountain bike at 40 miles an hour, and it's safe like that.
I've had the same experience. We both started dojos after surviving. I fell off my bike in California, same kind of way. We're going to bow out now. Thank you so much, everyone.
Domo, arigatou.